Oh,
Okie doke. Hi, Tashia and Leona. Thanks for joining us. I'm
hello.
Kara Chase, and I am a social media coach and strategist. And Kat, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Hi, so I'm Kat, and I like to call myself a mind detective, a term I've coined myself. So I work with solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, whatever you want to call yourself. Everything to do with productivity, your mindset, profiling, your strengths, all that kind of stuff. So small business in general.
So Kat and I connected because it turns out so much of both of our expertise overlaps really, really nicely. I work with small businesses, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs to help them figure out what to do on social media. And a lot of that actually comes back to productivity, success mindsets, and just the way you run your business as an entrepreneur. So Kat and I have a lot of just overlapping interests and skills and things that we do to help people. So we host this Blab every week on social media and productivity. I'm Pacific time, so it's 9:30 every Thursday is what we've been doing. And it's been a lot of fun. Usually we end up talking to ourselves for 20 minutes and then people start jumping in and all of that good stuff. So hi, Jeremy. So, Kat and I can just
Oh, Colette. I know Colette. Hey.
If anybody has a question about social media, about productivity, something wants to introduce themselves, we are happy to open up a seat. If you're camera shy, one of us is always keeping an eye on the chat bar over to the right. Please don't be shy. That's why we're here, because we love just helping people and talking about how to do it the right way. I think people waste so much time trying to figure out how to do it the right way. And we're all about not wasting time. Kat and I are very efficient
And we're
people.
Very efficient, and we're those perfectionists, so we understand what it's like to procrastinate around our perfectionist tendencies. So it doesn't have to be perfect. We don't even need to see your face. You could do it by audio only if you wanted to come in, because I know how scary it is to do the face in a square to a global audience for the first time. It's a bit scary, but honestly, we don't bite, and you can ask us anything.
Absolutely anything. But first, what's my mug of the day?
Is it the Fox one? What's the prize?
You win it all, Kat. Yes, I have my favorite coffee. Coffee mugs are kind of a thing for me. Coffee's kind of a thing for me. As is true.
Yeah, it's the only thing. We have so much in common, but I'm tea and you're coffee.
That's it. We can't be friends anymore. That's it.
No. No. But no, I don't even have mugs that I can show, because my webcam keeps showing it backwards. So it's
but even though it shows it backwards, it actually shows the right way. I promise. Yeah, because right now that looks backwards to me, but it doesn't to you, does it?
No, it doesn't. So yeah, I'm a tube then. Tube. I hadn't worked that out.
The interwebs is smarter than we are. It's like Skynet, smarter than we are, right?
Oh, I don't want to think about Skynet. It scares me.
So anyway, Kat and I have both been working on things for our business. And one of the things that I love that you just said was perfectionism, procrastination around our perfectionism. And I think that is one of the things, hands down, that has been the most difficult for me starting my own business.
Yeah.
I have so many ideas and so many things when I say to people, hey, I want to do a class on this, or I want to, offer people this. And they go, oh my God, that's amazing. And then I go,
yeah.
Now I have to actually do it. And what if I do it wrong?
Yeah. What? And do you feel the fear? Feel the fear? Like it's like that stomach churning. Oh my God.
What if
what have I agreed to? It's like, yeah, but do you know, just put it into the world. I gave myself, being straight talking ginger, I gave myself a right good straight talking to many years ago about it doesn't need to be perfect. Just put it into the world.
Right.
It's really hard. I know that's really hard, but and we kind of spoke about this last week, Cara. It's when you become an employer of yourself and you go into business for yourself, you need to change your mindset from employee mindset to employer mindset. And nobody else is going to do it for you. So you can procrastinate till the cows come home. But you know what? It's still going to be fabulous. Yeah, you've got to just do it. And I mean, so you've said you've had that experience.
Oh yeah.
And have you got strategies to overcome it now, or do you still fall into that?
I just
trap?
kind of metaphorically knock myself over the head so I don't think about it so much. And I just do it. My the 7 days to an Instagram strategy free course that I just put out was my first course that I ever put out. And it was, I dragged my feet, and finally I was like, this is free. I know how much value I give to people because I hear that feedback when people are like, I totally didn't expect to get that. Like so what am I, it doesn't have to be perfect. And there's still, like, as people are going through the course right now, because you get one email a day, sometimes I'll pop in and I'll go, oh, I should have added that. Yeah. Oh, I should, whatever. And it's like, okay, well, I know for next time, but it doesn't, those little small points could have kept me from, the 50 people that I've added to my email list since it's been out, and all the, it's like, what, they're not noticing that, and they're okay with getting a ton of free value. So just do it.
Totally. And it's free, and that's exactly it. It's just get on with it. And actually, if you can use a free course like that for market research as well, to think, oh, actually, I could have included an extra bit. I did that recently with you as well. I launched a beta version of a course that I ran because I wanted feedback. I knew it was the bare bones of a course, but I knew it was so much more. But I needed people to experience it and see it from their perspective. Because the one thing you will do as a solopreneur is you will not be able to see the wood from the trees.
Yes.
You will think what you're producing is fan-blinking-tastic. And actually, you might spend months creating something and then nobody buys it. And it's crickets. And a waste of your time.
Well,
don't do that.
When that happens, often my hair's doing something funky today. That's awesome. Is when you're excited about what you have to offer because it's something that you love talking about and you're excited to get it out, but you haven't talked to your target market about what they want. That was the best advice that I got when I started talking to one of the other women in our solopreneur group, Reese, who's amazing. That was the best advice that she gave me was, you have all this knowledge, you have these things that you're excited to talk about, but it's not about telling them the benefits. It's about talking the way that they talk. And you need to talk to 20, 30 people that are your target audience and pick their brains and find out where their pain points are and their frustration. And it was hard because I wanted to get going, and I literally took 3 to 4 weeks and scheduled. Do you remember that post that I put? It was months ago, and scheduled time with, I think I ended up with like 20 people that I would spend 30, 40 minutes talking to them on, Skype or Google or even the phone or whatever, and just asking them about like, what is the problem for you with social media? What's your biggest problem? What's your biggest stumbling points? And all of that information is what led me to, these are the kinds of things that people want me to talk about, not what I want to talk about.
Yeah, and I think, our topic's about that consistency. And at the beginning of any new idea or new project, you're just raring to go. You just can't wait to get, this stuff out, and get this, like, share your expertise and your knowledge of the world. But it always boils down to I always say, find 100 people. Yeah. Find 100 people and speak to them. Some of them might want what you want. Some of them might not want what you're offering, but actually use their language. Listen to what they say and how they talk about, because you're so immersed in what you're doing. Your social media. Right. I do all the productivity mindset stuff. I know this stuff at the back of my hand, so you can kind of fall into jargon because I know it, and then people can. I don't know what you're talking about.
By that.
Yeah, totally.
That's where taking a ton of notes and using the words that they use come into play. Yeah. The number one thing that I hear from people, that I continue to hear and heard from people when I was doing all this research, the number one word was frustrated. Yeah. Frustrated with social media because they don't know what they're doing. They don't know where to get good content. They don't know how to post, how much they should be posting. Should they even be on Twitter? Should they, like all of this, because it's so big. Social media is so much. And it changes almost daily. And if you're running a business, you don't have time at 10 o'clock at night when you finish running your business for the day to read 5 articles on how Facebook is changing profiles.
No.
I wouldn't want to if, I know about it because it's what I do and it's what I offer my clients. I do it for myself, for my brand, and I do it for clients. And it's a lot to wrap your head around. I kind of, I have a running list of articles to read, and I constantly feel like I'm trying to catch up with what's the latest and what's going on. So as far as social media is concerned, the number one thing that I hear is frustration because there's so much for small business owners to wrap their head around. They just don't even know where to start.
Yeah. And I think as well, we know that the internet is just overflowing with advice. Now, that could be good advice or that could be rotten advice. Mm-hmm. And when you're at the start, how do you tell the difference?
Right.
Even when you're into it a few years, how can you tell the difference? It was funny, I was on a Twitter chat today with a Scottish women's group, and the CEO actually said, I mean, you can tell when you've had a bad haircut, but you can't tell when you've been given bad business advice. And I thought, oh, you're so right, because you could follow advice because you think somebody's got more knowledge than you or more experience than you, and then end up, it just doesn't work for you.
Yep.
You can't spot it until it's too late. And I think to be consistent in anything, you want to find trusted people that you can ask and get good answers from, and find good places to speak to the right people about different topics. So if it's about social media or it's about productivity or whatever it is, find different people. Don't just sit and surf all day, because you'll get
down the rabbit hole. Totally get down the rabbit hole. And I think that's where, at least for me, I'm definitely somebody that I'm getting better at this as I get older. I like to learn the hard way. I want to try it. I want to get my hands dirty. And sometimes that works out, sometimes it doesn't. But what I've learned is that the best combination for me to move forward is a combination of referrals from other people. Like, hey, I need to pick somebody's brain, or I need to talk to somebody or whatever about this. And those, trying to get somebody that I can talk to get that advice. Or who do you like? Which blogs do you like? Just getting whatever it is, whether it's in person, whether it's blogs that are valued and, whatever. And just going out and making my own mistakes and trying it for myself. And
Oh, totally. I mean, I think that's the other thing that kind of goes hand in hand with procrastination is people are just so frightened to do something wrong or make a fool of themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's the worst that will happen? Genuinely, what's the worst that will happen? You'll maybe cringe for a couple of days,
Yeah.
Well, you'll get over it.
And what was interesting, so I put out the 7 days to an Instagram strategy. It's an email that people get every day for 7 days, and every day is like a bite size, like here's what's next, and so it only takes them 10-20 minutes to go through. It's not like this big course where they have to sit down for 2 hours with my stuff and whatever. And when I launched it, I got some bites right away and people signing up, but it has picked up steam the longer it's gone on. And so some of it is having that patience of like, I need to keep at it and I need to keep sharing it. And I need to keep, doing the marketing that I need to do with it, but it's going to pick up steam, especially if it's something that's like, spread out over the course of a few days or whatever.
Totally. And the thing is, it's back to the old thing we always say about, if we build it, they will come. No, they won't. You just need to keep reminding people, because as much as our own businesses are important to us, we are not the top of everybody else's list.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't know why. If you see me in your inbox, you better open that email. It's kind of like, people need to be hit. I think it's 7 times. 7 times, I think they proved that you need to hit kind of that consistent of marketing, whether it's Twitter, email inbox. And I don't mean hard sales hit. I just mean that kind of reminder of, this is what I do. This is what I'm offering. And then people go, oh yeah, Cara, you're doing that Instagram thing. Because again, I'll admit now, another week has passed, and I'm just going to admit it here, folks. I still haven't done Cara's course. I am a bad person. This lady's been and I haven't done it yet. But yeah, I know I will, but this is the thing. So it's like, oh God, yeah, I still haven't done that because I've been doing X, Y, and Z in my lovely productivity diary thing. And I want to give it the time it's due. And I know you want feedback on it. And I always like to give people proper feedback and time to give proper feedback. But that's the thing. You need to hit people about 7 times to stay front of mind, to remind them that they're here, because Twitter just disappears. You know, so if you're putting out anything on Twitter, it's gone.
Yep.
Email inbox, people have the best will in the world to say, I'm going to come back to that. They don't get a chance.
Right.
Their email inboxes are crazy. So yeah, so it's that, as you say, be consistent, get better at that marketing thing. And it picks up momentum. Yep. Before you know it, you're thinking, okay, I've got all these people on my list, you know, right, because I offered a freebie. So
yeah. So I'm curious for you, because I mentioned for me, the number one pain point word that I hear from my target audience is frustration. For you and your, productivity and small business, what's the number one word that you hear?
Stuck.
Say that again.
Stuck. I'm just stuck. ST. It's the Scottish accent.
What?
Stuck. How would you say it? Stuck. Yeah.
Stuck.
That's it.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. People just spin their wheels. Yeah. It's what we were saying. They have this overwhelm, all this information, and then it's kind of like a week has passed and I've done nothing about it. And they've met loads of lovely people. You know, they've went out and they've networked and they've got business cards. And what have they done about it? Nada.
Nothing.
Absolutely nada. They have not moved their business forward. And I'm not saying that you just need to be always on. I'm not saying that at all. But what you need to do is pick and choose the information that you gather, right, and then do something with it.
Mm-hmm.
That you need to take action, whatever it is. A baby step. I'm not talking about a huge step. Even just a tiny baby step. So if you meet somebody at a networking event and you take their business card, make a point of either adding them to a database, writing on the back of the card what it is that they do that you're going to follow up on. Wee simple things, but don't let a big pile of stuff just build up and then a week's gone past. Oh, scary. I am a mind reader. I told you I was a mind detective.
These have all been inputted. I have this thing where even though I know that things are safe in my database and backed up and all of that, I'm afraid to throw them away because what if something happens to the digital files? I need to get over it. But I have all of these. These are people that I followed up on. These are people I've done all of that, but I still have the stack.
Yeah, so you've done something about it, but this is the point. It could be anything like that. It could be the business cards, it could be emails, it could be doing somebody's Instagram course. Just get it done. Just take action.
So I've decided, because I've done a lot of, and I'm continuing to do a lot of research into webinars, courses, how to do that properly, how to set up your funnels, how to do the marketing, all of that kind of stuff, because it's not something that I've done before. So obviously I want to educate myself. But I'm to the point now where I have so many articles and downloads and things to read that I just haven't been able to get to because I am busy running my business and running clients' social media and all of that, that I'm like, okay, I am not downloading another thing about how to do webinars, coaching, any of that until I read what I have.
Correct. Yeah. That's the easy answer about it is, and then set yourself probably half a day, maybe a day aside, and just take the stuff that you've got and then scan it. Scan quickly through. What is it that jumps out at you? What are the key tips? Who's following? Who's the best person for webinars? Who's the best person for these things? And follow their advice, because they've usually done it. They've usually done it for a long time, and they make it work for them. And we can get lost, as we've said, in that rabbit hole of the interwebs and everything that goes along with it.
You know who my solopreneur spirit animal is Regina. By Regina.
No.
You need to look up byregina.com. That woman pumps out courses, webinars, and content like nobody I have ever seen in my life. And it's good stuff. It's not flippy BS.
Right.
My goal would be to get to the point where I know my process and what I'm doing so well that I can consistently pump out educational, valuable things like she does.
And I think that's the key, just what you've said there. It's a process.
Yeah.
It's a system. Yeah. And I'm not talking about going by somebody's system and then it's going to make you loads of money. I'm not talking about that kind of system. Yeah. But you need to find your own blueprint. And apologies, a wee bit of a plug here because I've been working on my course and it's called Solopreneur Sanity for that reason and I just wrote yesterday about using your unique talents and strengths to create your own blueprint. So whilst I can give you a system to work out what that blueprint is, you need to work it out for yourself in terms of, I don't sell the same as you.
Right.
I don't sell the same way.
That's a really good point.
You know, I'm a bit of an introvert, so I'm not good at these networking things. I've said that before. So I'm better at being online. This is a different thing because obviously we are live,
right.
But it doesn't feel
still.
And that's the point. It's, you know, we're too quick to follow all these entrepreneurs like Richard Branson and Steve Jobs, when actually they're not the same. Well, I profile people, so they're not the same profile type as us. And then we wonder why we're kind of stuck and we're thinking, but I'm doing what they said to do in their book and that's not working for me. Because you're not the same type of person. Totally. But different strengths and different blueprints work for different people. And it's about trial and error, I suppose, to a certain extent. Yeah. But yeah, I just wrote that yesterday. You know, it's your strengths. What's your own blueprint?
Awesome.
And then make that work and follow it because it won't let you down. It won't let you down.
When I first started blogging, because it's interesting. I've gone through very quick evolutions in my business since I started, like figuring out very quickly, okay, no, that's not the direction I need to be going. Okay, no, you know, whatever. Originally, when I started my own business, I thought that I was just going to be doing retainer clients and doing social media for brands because that's what I'd always done in social media. And I didn't think I was going to be blogging. And then I realized, well, if I want to get traffic to my website, I need to be talking about my expertise and what I know and how to do things and whatever. So I started blogging. And then I realized, okay, well, if I'm going to do a blog, I need to have a strategy and a plan for getting it out there. If I build it, they will come. Obviously.
No.
So then I started trying to find I love checklists. I love to-do lists. I love checklists. It makes me feel so good. It makes me feel so productive to be checking things off. And no, there's a ton of things out there that are like, here's your blog checklist, you know, as far as images and how to put, you know, whatever keywords and SEO and blah, blah, blah. And none of them were what I needed. Not a single one.
Really?
There were ones that were good as far as like kind of the elements as like a guideline. But I just didn't find it. There was not one single thing that I was like, oh, that's it. And part of the problem is because blogging is an industry and people that's what they do is blogging. They blog every day or several times a week. So a lot of the resources that I was finding was for people that blog every day or, you know, whatever. I blog once a week because that's what I have time for. And, you know, once a week is more than enough for me at this point. So it goes back to finding your own way to do things and finding your own blueprint. And I now have my own checklist where I pulled bits and pieces from other things, but there was not one thing that was a perfect fit for me.
Yeah. And I think that's what's so overwhelming about the internet sometimes is there's a load of people, you know, who are selling their business and showing you how to run a business like theirs.
Mm-hmm.
So blog is a really good example. I'm going to show you how to blog like you've never blogged before. And that's fantastic. That's going to be your business. But if that's not your business and you only need to do a blog once a week, it's certainly never going to be a right fit. But there's not really much out there telling you, because again, you'll get overwhelmed with, you need to blog 3 times a week or 4 times a day or 10 times, whatever it is. And the only reason it works is because it works for you and how your business works for you.
Right.
And as blogging's about getting your voice out there. It's about the know, like, and trust factor online. That's all it is. Because, you know, you can drop to somebody's website, you still don't know who they are, you still don't know anything about them. Blab's great for that, because now people can come in and hear my ridiculous Scottish accent and decide whether it annoys them or not, or whether I speak too fast.
No, you don't speak fast.
But you know what? This is me trying to slow it down, I can assure but that's the thing, it's finding that opportunity to do blogs, to get a piece of you out there so that you find your tribe, you find your clan, they resonate with you. That's what it's about. It's not about running your blogging business, unless that's what you're doing. But if that's not what you're doing, that's not going to fit.
No, it totally is 100% about establishing my expertise, the know, like, and trust factor, you know, all of that kind of stuff. And it's actually a great outlet, because I see so many people that do things so wrong on social media. So it gives me so many good ideas for blogging.
I'm probably one of them.
No, they're so, oh my gosh, I'm like, okay, why are you doing that? But, and so it's a great way for me to, address issues that I think a lot of people have with social media, which is good.
Well,
one of the things, go ahead.
No, and you go.
So we were talking beforehand about what we wanted to talk about today.
Yeah.
And my most recent blog post was on 5 mistakes you're probably making on social media. If your social media strategy is just kind of meh, and not really gaining any traction, and you're just kind of spinning your wheels and not seeing a lot of results. There are things that people do that I see consistently over and over and over that lead to their social media strategy just not really working or being on point. And it's a great thing to talk about, because it also has so much to do with productivity. Most of the time when people are not doing well with social media, it's because they don't have a structure for being productive with social media, if that's not their business. So maybe you can talk a little bit about not even necessarily social media, but just scheduling, time blocking, how you stay productive around your tasks.
Yeah. So apologies if I'm kind of repeating myself a wee bit, but last week I spoke about I schedule my tasks in my week slightly differently to how most people would do it. And it's about energies. Now, I'm not getting all woo-woo before people just go a bit mad and jump off. It's really about, if you think about it, willpower is rotten. Willpower will run out in about 20 minutes. Yep. So every day you've only got that tiny amount of time to power through the rubbish stuff. Now, if you love doing social media, which you do because it's your business, you can do that all day long. You could do that all day long, and you could schedule it all day long, but actually you've maybe got your accountancy, financy things to do, you've got your networking events to do, meetings to take place. And the thing is, you might not really enjoy going to networking events or meetings, and it's trying to find times in the day, right, okay, I'm not going to have a great amount of energy at some point in the day, whether it's, you know, that, as I call it, the carbohydrate slump, even at 2:30 when you've had your lunch and you want a wee cat nap. Yeah. Especially working from home, too tempting. However, that's the time that you should be doing stuff that it energizes you naturally, because you're going to have low energy. If you do your feeds, you know, set up all your social media at that time of day, you're going to have high energy regardless of how you feel. If you decide you're going to do some meetings first thing in the morning, because actually it's not really what I like to do, but I'm awake, I'm refreshed, I'm ready to go, then do that then. And it's about, you know, everybody's going to schedule differently. Everybody's going to enjoy doing certain things. Some people use apps. Some people use a good old-fashioned diary and a bit of pen and paper. What you've got to do is trial and error and work out what works for you, because what works for somebody else won't necessarily work for you. I've tried every project you know, management tool known to man, whether it's Asana or Trello or any of these things. And some of them work for me, or combinations of them. But the key thing is set your priorities. It's dead simple. And I've said this before. This is not about writing a list, your to-do list the night before to get started the next morning and there's 10 things. No, three things. That's it. And see, when you get ticking off, tick, 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 it feels so good. And then you can add in anything else that you want to. After that, that's a bonus. Cara, I've lost sound on you. I can't hear you. It's like you're locked in a room somewhere. But yeah, so it's just about scheduling your tasks and getting that stuff done. So can I just ask in the chat box, because I can't hear Cara, can everybody else hear her, or is it just me again? Can you hear me? I take it you can hear me. Yeah. Ah! Right, go and refresh your browser. Go and refresh your browser again and come back. Does anybody actually want to jump in and ask a question about anything that we've been talking about? I can't obviously answer the social media things just now. I won't force anybody. Or even if you want to ask some questions in the box at the side there. Yeah, of course, Cara. You can't kick yourself out, Cara? No. And then come back in? Yeah, so does MD want to ask a question? Hello, Jeremy, hello.
How are you?
Hi, Jeremy. Thank you for coming into the conversation.
I actually am new to this whole Blab thing, so it's actually been fascinating just listening to you guys. And I'm sorry, apparently Cara went mute for a little bit. Thankfully, she's been doing mime school, so. No? No? Not one of your new blogs?
Like locked in a room somewhere.
Yeah, that's right. Well, actually, so Jen, yeah, it's just been fascinating hearing about it. And I blog a little bit, but not often. I enjoy it, but don't spend as much time as I could. But I don't really know how to get traction on it. Okay.
So, and unfortunately, Cara's probably your lady for that, who's locked in the silent room about it at the moment. So what kind of blogging do you do?
It's social media and leadership and just personal observations.
Personal observations, that sounds quite interesting, intriguing.
Well, there's some things along the way. You know, one of for our family, our life story is around organ donation, and so we'll actually talk about that in the blog. I think it's an important piece for us to share. So we went through it. Our 13-year-old boy, actually he was 12 at the time, needed a kidney transplant. I got to be his donor, so we tell people about that story.
Wow, that's a really personal and powerful story, Jeremy, to share. Can you still hear?
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's exactly what we were talking about earlier. When you're doing those blogs, when you bring that personal element to something, people just connect with you. It's back to what we've said. It's about that relationship building with people. Mm-hmm. Because otherwise,
can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Good. So yeah, as I was saying, it's just that relationship building with people, and if you're blogging, how many blogs do you see? I don't know about you, but as we were saying, we're subscribed to so many things, and things just scroll through your inbox, and you're not necessarily paying attention. But if something catches your attention because it's that relationship building and it's a personal story, that's fantastic. So you're just new to blogging, is that what you're saying? Or
I've done it. I just haven't spent. I don't. It's not a business for me. I work for a corporation. It's just something fun to do on the side, and we get involved in social. I was in university social media for a long time, and we had a lot of success. We were the place I was at and the effort that I led. We were one of the top 100 social media colleges in the U.S. So we just kind of translated that into blogging, and we just all live in that space. So I started it just on a whim and don't spend as much time as I should with it.
But I think it's one of those things we always could say, oh, we need to do more of this or we need to do more of that. And actually, as we were talking about doing blogging there and doing your social media, you need to be doing it the right way. If you're wanting to make an impact with it, even little can make an impact if it's done really well and it's done the right way. But you could be bombarding people and nobody's listening to the thing. Kat, I don't know if you want to jump in.
Yeah, so Jeremy, and I apologize because I was half listening because I was trying to figure out what was going on. But your question was in how to utilize Blab in the best way for what you're doing. Is that right? Or just social media?
Not necessarily. This is an experiment watching you guys do this for me. And I was in there like, does anyone want to get on? And I was, sure, because while Kat may be an introvert, I am like an extrovert.
Nice.
So I was like, I'll totally jump in and just try it out.
The funny thing is I'm totally an introvert too, but not on the internet for some reason. And I think that is true for most people. I think that social media has enabled people that are naturally maybe more uncomfortable in person, or at least it's very draining for them, which is the case for me. It's enabled them to be more outgoing, which is interesting. But anyway, the number one thing that you can do to figure out what you need to be doing or where you need to be doing it is where your target audience is. You have to know where your target audience is. I hear that a lot from businesses that are like, well, should I be on Twitter? Should I be on Instagram? Should I, what should I use? What's the best for my business? Not only is it about what's best for your business, but it's about where your target audience has their eyeballs. So you could love Pinterest, but if your target audience isn't on Pinterest, what's the point of being on it, right? So it's pretty simple, but it's actually something that most people don't think that way. They think in terms of their own comfort level and what they like using. So it's an interesting point. Blab, it's, I think it's going to be different for everyone. I've seen some totally off the wall, bizarre blabs going on. I've seen some really cool, like social media industry leaders doing stuff consistently. My reason for joining Blab is I love talking to people about social media. And I am someone that is happy to give people, at a certain point, no, but free advice where they say, hey, how do I do this? Or how do I whatever? And I could just brainstorming with them, but I don't have time to schedule 10 coffee shop meetings a week to talk to people about whatever questions they have, et cetera, et cetera. So doing Blab, and Kat and I have become friends and we have such great overlap with what we do, can host this once a week and provide a forum for people to ask questions about social media, about productivity in their business, et cetera. So it's kind of a hitting many birds with one stone while giving people access isn't the right word. We're putting faces to names. I'm putting a face to my blog. I'm putting a voice to what I talk about on social media. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
So go ahead.
No, I appreciate it. It's actually been great hearing voices and seeing faces, and I like the accent. I'd like for Kat to say crickets over and over again. No, you're right. That is nice. It's nice to do that.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, it's interesting for me with your blogging and the personal story that you have and connecting with that community. I think that putting a face to your writing and your blogging and delving into that community could be really important for you and could be, I don't want to say lucrative in traction because that's obviously not really why you're doing it, but just, what's the word I'm looking for? I need a second cup of coffee is what I need. I just think that it could bring you to a whole nother level with how people identify with you. How have you seen best to, so you write something great. How do you get it out into the market? How do you actually get people to look at it and pay attention to it? That's where social media comes into play, actually. You have got to do the keyword research and you've got to write well. I mean, you can post about something all day long, but if it's not a great article, it's not a great article. So you've got to have the foundation there. But you have to put it out on social media. And the other side of that coin is you have to interact with other bloggers that are in your community. And whether it's on a Facebook group, whether it's going and commenting on other people's blogs that are complementary to what you're writing about, and getting them to notice you that way. So maybe they go and click on your blog and think it's interesting and they share it. So it's kind of threefold. It's having the good content that's well written and has the chops behind it as far as keywords and SEO and all that kind of stuff. Then it's making sure you put it out on social media. And then it's going out and engaging with complementary, either business owners, whoever it is in your community. So it's all three. Oops. He went away. Goodbye. Come back.
I know, because the other thing I was going to say, Cara, was following on from that point is guest blogging is a great way to get that out there as well. I've done a couple of guest blogs now, a bit like that. Find your audience, find the same type of people that will read the same type of articles you do, even if you have to repurpose a blog for a specific audience. You can still use your original blog and just change it up a wee bit or offer something to that new audience that'll interest them. And then that drives the comments back to your own site as well. And I think you're absolutely right there. It's relationship building, whatever platform and whatever medium you use. You can't. It's what we talked about before. We're not fans of Periscope because it feels like you're talking to yourself. And it's that, where's the relationship? I know you get comments coming in. I know people are watching because I've done a couple of them. But for me, it doesn't.
It's so awkward.
Right. Yeah, it feels really awkward. And it's kind of like that. You know, I like platforms where there's that conversation that happens with one another and there's a bit of chat back and forward and you start to get to know people. Because they're ultimately the people that'll buy for you. Once they trust you, they'll start to buy from you or follow you or you'll follow them, however that transpires. But yeah,
and I think, so I've done a couple guest blogs. I'm actually getting ready to write one for another group that I'm in. I'm hoping going to up level my exposure a little bit because it's a well-known person and all of that. But it took me a while to get there. It doesn't happen right away.
It doesn't.
And it came about because of me paying attention and engaging in this other Facebook group to where I was able to jump on the offer and say, and pitch my guest blog. So, you know, I've been blogging since, I guess, May. So it's taken a little while. I mean, in the long scheme of things, that's not very much time. But definitely going out and giving more than you get as far as sharing other people's content, commenting on their blogs. It'll start to come around. It just takes a little time.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no point in jumping into these groups and being about, it's all me, and look at my blog and look at what I've done and this, that, and the next thing. That's a complete waste of time. And people are not stupid. They switch onto that kind of attitude.
To post my blog.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm in bigger groups probably, and it's happened. I've watched people who don't put in anything. They don't comment or help anybody else, and then as soon as they've got something to promote, they're in there all jazz hands, and people just get really turned off by it. And it doesn't feel right for me. That might work for other people, but it certainly doesn't work for me.
I struggle with, and I totally agree with you.
I apologize. I'm going to have to let my cat out. It's going mental. I'll be back in 2 seconds.
Is there anybody else that would like to jump in and ask a question about social media or productivity, whatever you want to talk about on those subjects? No, that's okay. Come right in. What was I going to say?
Sorry.
Yes,
we were talking about that giving back and.
Here's what I struggle with is the group that I'm in where I'm doing this guest blog for the woman who owns the group. It's a huge group. Yep. And I cannot keep up with it. So the group that you and I are in is a small enough group, and we got in right in the beginning to where we kind of established those beginning relationships in the group and got to know each other really well before it started getting bigger. And, Andrea keeps it pretty locked down with how people can post and when they can post and whatever. So it's not super overwhelming. This other group is really awesome. And there's a lot of really great business owners in there that provide a lot of just good stuff and helping each other out in good content. But I find that I'm getting 15 notifications a day about people posting or people doing this and that and whatever. And it's like, I want to contribute. I want to offer people feedback or advice or, push out their stuff, but I can't keep up with it.
No, and it's overwhelming when it's like that. And it's a shame because I think when the groups reach a certain tipping point, it's just this kind of sea of stuff. So what do? Do you turn off the notifications? Then you might miss out on one of those key things where you could jump in and help somebody.
Right.
Or do you just sit back and watch it? I don't actually have the answer to that yet. I haven't worked it out yet, and it's a hard one because you end up what I end up doing is what I hate doing is lurking.
Yeah.
I just lurk and I just watch.
Yeah.
Because then I think all I can do is see what's happening.
Right.
But you're not getting a chance to contribute anything. And actually what I find is a lot of the bigger groups, probably from your kind of time zone, I've went to my bed and I get up and it's just like, and then I'll go in and ask a question in a big group and it's like, again, oh, he's gone, Jeremy. Crickets.
Yeah.
It's complete silence because nobody's awake.
Right.
When I'm awake.
Right.
So it's kind of just trying to find the balance with that as well.
I have found that what I do, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. I wish I could participate more, but what I do is they have a day of the week where they allow everybody to post their latest blog on a blog thread. And that's pretty much, once in a while I jump in on some other random conversation or whatever, but I post my blog in that thread, but I go through every single, and sometimes in this group, it's like 80 different blogs, and I go through and I comment, like, and share anything that's relevant to my business. Obviously, I'm not going to share a lasagna recipe on my, whatever. But so I give back far more than I'm getting because I'm making sure to go through and support the other people in that group. But I wish I could do more as far as participating in the other things that are going on in the group. So
yeah, and I think there's always comes a point, but it's a shame that some of the groups are really valuable, but there always comes a tipping point. And selfishly, you kind of want to shut the doors.
Yeah.
Not from a blocking people out, just from a numbers point of view. It's that kind of one in, one out. It's like your name's not down, you're not getting in, kind of at the bouncing at the door.
Right.
Because it does just, whilst it's great to have so many people interested in the same business as you, follow the same person as you and be like-minded, it kind of loses its power a wee bit. So I don't know what the answer is to that. I don't know. What do you?
I think it comes back to priorities. It comes back to priorities. I know that I'm going to get far more out of taking that time to work on my next webinar or course or whatever.
Yeah, I know. And I think you're right. You're trying to do the right thing by boosting other people's blogs. But I mean, if you're already contributing in other groups doing the same thing, then get into a group where there's about 80, that's a huge amount, even if you're not finding things that are relevant to your business. Mm-hmm. You're still taking the time to read that, to scan that, to find that out, and then take the time to do that in somebody else's. So you've got to be, I think there at some point you've got to say no to things and work out. I always ask my question, so every time I'm a bit confused about something, I use this wee question. It's like, does it get me closer to or further away from my goal?
That's perfect.
And it sorts me out every single time when I get that. I'm not really sure. I just ask that question and it sorts it out for me.
And I actually coach the businesses that I work with on kind of the same thing. At a certain point, you've got to say no when it comes to social media. A lot of businesses will come to me and they're like, well, shouldn't I be on every platform? It shows that I'm up to date and, with it and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, unless you have time to know how to use every single one of those platforms properly, no. Because you're wasting your time, you're wasting other people's time. If you're posting the same content on every platform, it's a total waste. And I see this all the time. People will auto post every single Instagram picture they have to Facebook, and it's like, and then they have like 30 hashtags, and it's like, okay, you can't. What the fuck are you doing? Like, first of all, Facebook hashtags do not have the same effectiveness like they do on other people's on other platforms because of people's privacy settings. So if you've got your Facebook locked down and you're hashtagging something, the only people that are going to ever be able to search for that hashtag in your content are, people that are your friends or whatever. So hashtags they work the way they're intended to work as far as sorting topics and whatever, but they do not have the same effect, and they don't work exactly the same as they do on Twitter or Instagram. So when somebody auto posts from Instagram and they have somebody's @ thing, but it's different on their name on Facebook is different, or it's not, it doesn't look right. It looks like they didn't care enough to post it the right way. And if you're posting everything on Instagram to Facebook, why would I follow you on Instagram?
Totally. And it's funny you should say that, because there's a particular company that I follow, and they started to do that. Everything was across every platform. So it just meant I actually scrolled through, because I thought, well, I know what that is now.
Yeah.
I don't need to see that again. Or the laziness in me is I don't want to click twice on a link and then something else to have to open up what it is, if you're posting Facebook to Twitter or vice versa.
Right.
And it was funny because I actually did it the other day by mistake. And I was like, no, I'd posted something and I think I'd done it in Buffer.
Yeah.
And I forgot to select something and I posted it across a couple of platforms, and I was mad with myself, absolutely mad, because I knew that that's not the thing to do.
Right.
But I'll forgive myself one of them.
So the blog that I'm doing as a guest post is about not wasting people's time on social media, like how to be respectful of people's time when they're looking at your content. And one of the things is when people have to chase a link and you leave them all different places around the internet, and it's like nobody's got time for that, right?
It's very unsatisfying as a viewer.
So, for example, somebody that posts on Facebook and their Facebook auto tweets, but it's a link. So what shows up on Twitter is a link back to Facebook, and then you get to Facebook and it's a link out somewhere else. And it's like, are you kidding me right now? Like, what? Those are the people that I'm like, unfollow, or I just don't ever click through, because who knows where it's going to go. So it's about saying no because you can't handle what you need to be doing. Like, you don't have the time or the knowledge to handle how it needs to be done properly. You need to concentrate on what works for your target audience and get that foundation laid before you start doing other things. And when I look at other bloggers or businesses and their social media links on their website, they've got like 2 or 3. I'm like, you're on it. You know exactly where you need to be and where you want to be.
Totally. Because you can't be, you're not ubiquitous. There's no point in being across all those platforms. No. And it was funny because for ages I just thought I was being lazy, not clicking through those links. But the whole point about social media is its immediacy. You want to consume something fairly quickly. You're scanning. Nobody's really doing it on their desktop. It's on their mobile. We've known that for a long, long time. The last thing they're wanting to do is, when they're walking up the street and going to bump into that lamppost because they weren't paying attention, is click through 6 links.
And then you end up in a link that's a not mobile friendly, and it's just like, oh my God, you just, suck the battery out of my cell phone, and
it's like, stop.
Right.
Stop.
Right. So taking the time to understand the platform that you've chosen to be on, because that's where your target audience is, and then taking the time to post properly and know those best practices, and not expect people to have so much affinity for you that they'll pick up the slack for you.
Yeah.
Right?
Because you're trying to create, at the risk of sounding ridiculous and cheesy, you're trying to create fans.
Yeah.
You're trying to create people who want to follow you and think, what is it that you're going to say? I don't mean hang on your every word type fans, but those kind of people who are, well, what's Kat saying today? Is it something interesting, or is it just, about trying to let the cat out? Whatever the heck it is. So the last thing you want to do is turn people off, and you do need to spoon feed a wee bit. So exactly as you said, it's that kind of make it easy for people, do the right thing. And it's funny because I come at social media from a slightly different point of view, from the psychology point of view of what gets most engagement. Why does it get engagement? What are people thinking about? Because social media, and apologies, Cara, I'm going to be controversial again. I like to be controversial.
That's
at least one blab is people are selfish.
Yeah.
They're only in it for what they can get out of it. So the psychology is always about how can I consume, what can I get, what's the golden nugget, what's the hit of that, and particularly because it's social media. So if you're crafting your media around that of give, then you've got a better chance of getting engagement. Yep. And then you follow up with that relationship building thing.
But that takes time and patience, which a lot of people do not have.
No, because they're just like, me, sell.
And this whole movement, and I don't want to knock it too badly because it's kind of what I'm doing for my business, but in a different way. This whole movement of like branding yourself. All these like kids that are coming out of college and they're like, this is me and my brand, and this is who and it's like, it's just interesting. And I don't think that's, I don't necessarily ascribe a positive or negative to that. It's just it's interesting, and it's very different. It's a very different mindset.
Yeah.
But you're right. It kind of leads to, or tends to, that, it's all about me thing.
Yeah. And I mean, like you, I don't want to kind of say good or bad. I think that's just I'm going to sound old, it's a kind of generational change. You always get a shift in how people do things and how people consume, right, and the kind of world as we are. But when we're talking about setting anything up, and it's come to brand and business and productivity and social media, or whatever it is that you're doing, you kind of need to step back, give yourself a really good foundation, and have that is that consistent framework. It's, take the time to think it through. Bye, Craft Digital. Thank you so much for
Thank you for all the applause. That was awesome. Thank you. Thank you. We it's an open invitation for anybody to jump in and ask a question, or we'll just keep talking because we're good at that. It's fine.
We've only got one person left there to jump in. I don't know who you are because you've got a little egg shape.
Kenneth.
Is it Kenneth?
Yeah. Hey, Kenneth. How are you? What's going on?
Do I know you, Kenneth? I've got a feeling I might know you, Kenneth.
That GIF that your friend Miss Boomy Benjamin captured of my face.
Was that? I thought that was you. I must remember. I didn't realize this could happen. Like people would pull like GIFs of.
And I've got such a rubber face.
Me too. It's kind of like written. Yeah, we've got the types of faces that it's written right there.
Right there. A lot of times I can tell that I'm making a face based on the reaction on somebody else's face, right? I don't even realize what I'm doing. But they look at me and I'm like, I'm making a face, aren't I? Uh-huh.
I actually thought that was you that had done that, because you do these GIFs thing that I'm like, how do you do that? I don't know how you do that.
I'm saving that one. At first I was like, are you kidding me? That's so embarrassing. And I was like, no, I'm using it. That's good. I'll use it for something.
I could see you looking at it, and I thought you were looking at it going, that's really funny. Like, and I was mid-conversation, and I thought, oh, that's really good. But I now need to work out how to do that to catch other people out.
You have to ask, do you know Miss Boomy?
No, but I've just met her since the last Blab, so I'll maybe contact her. Is she in the same group as us as well?
I'm not sure.
No. Okay, so I will maybe tweet her, and I'll ask her about that.
How did you do that?
I know.
So the reason my microphone cut out
because
I opened up a new window to look at my blog to remember what I wrote. Because I'm like, on to the next. And that's why my microphone, Chrome is very
glitchy.
Very glitchy. Very glitchy. So
it was funny that I could just see, and then suddenly it was as if you were locked in that kind of Superman black box thing, Superman 3. Yeah.
Right?
Totally fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so anyway, when I was talking to my target audience and all these people that I was picking their brains to find out what their pain points are and what their frustrations are with social media.
Yep.
The exchange for that is that I was happy to answer any questions that they had. Obviously I couldn't give them an hour's worth of free advice, but as things came up in conversation, I was happy to say, you should try this, or you should, whatever, which is similar to the conversation that you and I first had.
Yeah.
So I saw all of these things consistently across the board that people do that makes their social strategy just not up to par. And it has so much to do with having a schedule and productivity again. I wish I could bring it up. I wonder if I can just, hold on one second.
You're going to go on mute again.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm just going to look at it. Yeah. So we've talked, we've hit on a lot of things. The first one was too many social media accounts. And we've talked about that a couple times now, where it's about, you don't have a good grasp of social media in general or particular platforms. And so you just don't have the time to put in the effort to do it properly. So stop doing it.
Yeah.
The lack of consistency, which is where the productivity and the scheduling comes in. I am on many more social media networks than I necessarily need to be for my target market, but I do it because I need to know about those platforms for other clients.
Yeah.
So, for example, Google Plus, it's not my favorite platform. I'm not on it consistently, and I tend to post similar content to what I post on other platforms because I want to have that consistency of at least I'm there posting.
Yeah.
So the worst thing that you can do is you get on a platform, you're all excited about it, you're all gung-ho, and you post a bunch of stuff for 2 weeks, and then you get sick of it and don't see any return on your investment, which it's not very, just don't give up. And then you give up and you stop posting, and people sniff that out right away. And if they know that they can't count on your content, they're not going to follow you. They're just not going to even bother. So it's so much better to start off slowly than to try and do too much at once and not be able to keep up with the pace. So I coach clients for that as well, as far as maybe you should only post on Facebook 3 times a week until you figured out your content and how to post and all that kind of stuff. So
totally. Yeah. I think that made really good sense, Cara, because I've watched exactly that happen. And again, it's back to what we were saying earlier about that. There's so many mixed messages on the internet about social media. And as you said, it's so fast moving. It's changing. The algorithms are changing every day. The post reach is changing every day.
Yep.
And if people on top of that are not doing something consistently, you kind of need to, as you say, build up slowly to it. And from the productivity side of things, I would always say, don't beat yourself up if you can't do it more than once a week. It's better that you start with once a week and then build up, because then people know that you're going to post on the same day. It's like us doing this Blab on the same day, at the same time every week. People start to get into the habit, so they know, right, okay, if I want to watch that, that's when that's happening. And the same is true across any platform. Just start off small. Don't beat yourself up. Don't try and go Formula 1 before you're even off the starting blocks, because you run out of steam really quickly, and it's your willpower again. If you're not really sure what you're doing, you're basing everything on your willpower to do it, and that will run out.
So it's it would be akin to breaking a habit or starting any new habit.
Yeah.
For example, Exercise.
Oh,
right? When you've got it in your head, okay, I am going to get back in shape. I'm going to do this, whatever. And you start going to the gym or whatever you're doing, you know, going for a run, whatever. And you do it every day for 2 weeks. And then at the end of the 2 weeks, you are exhausted. Your body is beat up. You're tired. You can't even move. You stop.
Yep.
Because you just can't handle it. Versus, I'm going to go for a run twice this week.
Exactly.
Give my body time to adjust, and build up from there. It's like any new thing that you try to make a habit. You have to start slowly, and you have to give your brain and your body time to adjust and say, okay, this is the new normal.
Totally. And it's like, it takes, I mean, they always say it takes 21 days to build a habit. The science behind it is that your neural networks, it's like, if you remember what it was like to trying to learn to ride a bike or learn to swim, it takes that time for the neural pathways to build together. And actually, yeah, so you've got that bit going on, but you've also got the habits that you want to break. You need to wait for them to break down a bit as well. So all this sciencey stuff is going on in here at the same time as I am now going to go to the gym every other day or whatever I'm going to do. And actually see if you miss a day. Don't beat yourself up. Same with anything. If you've set yourself a schedule, whatever it is, and then you don't get to do your receipts for your accountant on the Thursday, and you had to wait till the Friday, do you know what?
Yeah.
Yourself a break, and then try again next week. And it's baby steps. It sounds really common sense, but that's exactly it. People think they start with the best of intentions, they go at it full pelt, and then what happens is they hate what they're doing. They hate themselves. And
you know how many business owners come up to me and they're like, I hate Facebook.
Yeah.
I'm like,
okay. Yeah.
Like, I can tell you exactly why and how you got there and what you've done and not done and, you know, whatever. And a lot of times when people approach me with that attitude, they really just they're frustrated. That word again for me, they're frustrated. So yeah, just ease yourself into it as far as your social media schedule and your content and what you're doing. Because you're right. The other side of that is you're also simultaneously breaking down your old habits, which is really hard. It's really, really hard to do.
Nobody said it was going to be easy, but yeah, it's worth sticking at it. And it's funny that you said, you know, people come to you and that's the number one thing. What really makes me sad is when I get to a business owner who comes to me and says, I hate my business. And I'm like, no, I can help you.
Yes. Yes.
And it's because exactly that. They've went into it with, you know, the best of intentions, full of enthusiasm, you know, they love what they do at the beginning and it's become a business and they've let it get on top of them rather than them taking control of the business is taking control of them. And it's that stuck thing. It's that word for me is always a stuck. It's like, Kat, I'm spinning my wheels. Like this is make or break time. I'm either making this work within 6 months or I'm chucking it. And it's really soul destroying when I hear people that have got to that level, have got to that stage where they think there's no alternative to but chuck it in. No.
I'm curious if you find that those people, that there's a correlation between they're the ones that they haven't really figured out what they're good at in their business and what they aren't.
Yes. What happens is we get, again, I mentioned this at the beginning, so for the people that weren't here, there's a difference between an employee mindset and employer mindset. And what happens is, as an employee, we apply for a job, we fill in our CV, and it's full of beautiful skills that we have learned over the years.
Adulting.
They're skills we might be good at. I did financial management for years in a past life. Was I good at it? Yes.
Yeah.
Did I love it? No, I absolutely hated it. I couldn't stand it. But it was a skill, so it's learned behaviour, it's a habit, I could do it very well. So when you start to run your own business, what you've forgotten about is what you love and what your strengths are. Because if you ask MD, I've watched hundreds of interviews, job interviews, What are your strengths? What are you bringing to the table? And people just take a mind blank, or what they do is they talk about their skills because they've forgotten what makes them actually get out of their bed in the morning. And that's the thing that keeps people in love with what they do. If you focus on your strengths and you chuck everything into that, forget what you're rubbish at. Let's not focus on weaknesses, folks. You know, they're there for a reason. You don't need to be good at everything, thank goodness. Yeah. Find somebody else to fill that gap. Find somebody else that, you know, complements what you do, but you must focus on your strengths 100% of the time, or you're just going to feel lousy.
And if you're a solopreneur and you can't afford, like the first thing that I am doing when I start to delegate out parts that I'm not great at is my business is the accounting. I don't like it. I think that's true for most people. Yeah. You know, I can deal with it when I have to, but I don't really want to. So right now I'm in the position of it is something that I have to do for my business.
Yeah.
However, I don't let it take over my emotions and my mindset. And so, you know, in the beginning, when you can't afford to hire out for the things that you don't want to do, it's really about staying on top of your mental, emotional game with what you love about your business and realizing that, I don't love it. That's okay. I've got to spend an hour today doing it. And then I'm going to get back to the thing that I really want to do.
Absolutely. That's exactly what you should be doing is like, I know it's got to get done and you're going to hate it when it appears in your diary and you see it coming up and you're like, oh no.
I'm going to check Facebook real quick before I get into that.
Yeah, I have got the most amount of housework done when things like that are coming up in my schedule because I'm just like procrastinate over here and do this, whatever.
I used to say in college, you could tell I had a paper due if my room was clean. Like,
totally. It's amazing how much other things you can do. And you're going to laugh at this, but I actually have 2 to-do lists. Now we've talked about how we are list people and how we like tick, tick, tick things off. And I have my to-do list and I have a procrastination list, right? Let me explain.
Please do.
So when it comes to things like that, as you say, on my to-do list might be I need to do my accountancy, financy stuff for my business. And I hate it. And I know I'm going to procrastinate around a wee bit. What I do is I put on my other list something that still needs to get done, but something that I quite like to do. So it means if I'm not doing what I should be doing on this number 1 list, what I do is instead of going and faffing around and going down the rabbit hole that is the internet and convincing myself that I've actually done some work today, I move across to the other list and I think, oh, that needs to get done. I need to do some details for that and I need to write a system for that. So I'll crack on with that as well. That's fine. That's done. Okay, now I actually need to do the accountancy thing, but I've filled my energy with something that I really like to do. So I run
That's
2.
Really, really smart. I mean, it has to get done. It has to get done anyway.
Yeah. So rather than wasting your time doing nonsense, do something that will energize you for 10, 15 minutes and then get back to the task in hand that you'll feel a wee bit more energized to do. And use it like an award system. It's kind of like a look at it.
Yeah, right. I am sure you're the same way, but at the end of the day, even if I've been at my desk kind of plugging away or doing stuff or doing busy work or whatever, at the end of the day, I feel when I've been productive or not.
Yeah.
I have that, like, I didn't really get done my top priority today. And how did I get sucked down the rabbit hole of reading this article about that and, you know, whatever. And even though you're exhausted because you have felt busy, you know in your gut when you have had a non-productive day. And I have those days, you know. I am so not perfect, and it is constantly a work in progress for me.
Nobody is perfect, Cara. That's the point. It's an uphill battle. I don't think there's any magical elixir, as I would like to call it, or some magical solution out there. And if anybody tries to sell you that, they're talking nonsense. You nod back and step away.
But what I do find, which should be more of a motivation, is the days that I am super productive and I am like on it. I am, you know, every window is shut down except what I'm working on at the time and I've whatever. I work less and I feel better. So
Correct.
when I get my stuff done, I'm done at 4:00.
Yep.
And I have that. I got my shit done. I'm good to go. I can watch Netflix tonight and have a glass of wine.
Totally.
Kind of farting around all day, and then I'm still trying to get my stuff done at 7:00 at night after the kids gone to bed because I haven't really done what I needed to do.
Exactly. And I used to work in those environments where people would watch what time you arrived in the morning, and they would watch what time you left at night. And it was, I've been here since blah, blah o'clock. Here comes the late shift at 7:15 in the morning. And I used to say, my response was always, I will accept that challenge. If you think that you can get more work done than me by being here longer, I will accept that challenge. Nobody to date has taken me up on it, because exactly that reason. When I'm doing stuff, I would rather do it in 3 hours than spend 8 hours faffing around and then feeling rubbish at the end of the day. I would rather just get my head down and get it done, and it's ticked off the list and move on and smug.
There are days that you get in your run and you feel awesome, and then there's other days where you're like, no, it's not happening.
Yeah, and it's your flow. See, I'm all about the flow. That's about your strength, because when you've turned off all the distractions and the notifications and you know what you're doing, you'll get it done. And you need to trust yourself. So even if, someone comes in left field in an email, that kind of throws you off a wee bit, you'll get back into your flow really quickly. And even more so when you know how to diary that time properly, in terms of exactly that. I know I'm going to get it done in 4 hours, and my reward is Netflix and a glass of wine. You can be damn sure I'm going to get it done.
I had a guy that I worked with that was very much the look how busy I am person.
Oh, I hate that.
And he asked a coworker, like, oh, what are your plans this weekend? And I was part of this conversation that was happening. And he goes, oh, what are your plans this weekend? And she goes, oh, I'm doing this on Saturday, but on Sunday, I've got to get this proposal done or this presentation or whatever. And his response was, well, you're not going to get any sympathy from me. I work every Sunday. I looked at him, and my immediate response was, if you're working every Sunday, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
And he just didn't know what to, like. It's like, you don't get a gold star. You're like, it just tells me you don't know how to do your job.
As I always say, stop wearing your lack of hours of sleep and your number of hours of work like a badge of honor. Just enough already. It doesn't make you better. And actually, you will burn out. And by the age of 52, you'll be done. You will be washed up. You will be done, and you'll look as if you're about 85. And I'm not saying that it can be done in a 4-hour work week. I know that's just a bit of a myth. But if you put the proper systems in place and you schedule your time, oh my God, you'll get so much done. I get more done in 4 hours than somebody would do in 12.
I'm the same way. I had a hard time when I first started my career, and I was right out of college, and I was in my 20s, and I've always been an extremely efficient person. And I had a problem wrapping my head around, well, why do I have to sit at my desk until 5 if I finished at 3? Like, I don't understand.
Exactly.
A long time to just kind of swallow that. Obviously that's why I'm in business for myself now, because I'm that kind of person that can just get it done. And I'm not happy getting a paycheck sitting at my desk reading the news, because, it just is not, it doesn't make any sense to me. So,
makes that sense.
And productivity, I would argue, is probably the most important when it comes to social media, because every business really needs to be on social media in some way, even if it's a minimal way. And social media is the number one thing that people get sucked into, down the rabbit hole, reading links and articles and whatever. And then before you know it, it's 2 hours later and you haven't done your article or whatever it is. So I would argue that productivity is almost the most important when it comes to reining in your social media and your strategy and exactly how to do it. do it and be done with it. Like, know what you need to do. Know how, like, I set aside time to engage. I don't fart around the interwebs looking for people to engage with and kind of whatever. Like, I know the blogs that I follow. I know the threads that I follow. I give myself time to, I'm going to go through this thread and share the blogs that I want to share, and then I'm done.
Yeah, totally. As I always say, I always quote it, there is no time management. There is only self-management.
Person management. People, I love that. I love that. 43 days. I want to address that real quick because I've heard that, and I know that the eat the frog first, like do the thing you most want to do first. And previously in this Blab, in this conversation, Kat and I talked about knowing your blueprint and knowing how you work and how the same method and the same scheduling and how you do your day doesn't work for everyone. One of the things that I discovered in being a solopreneur and working from home, I cannot start off with my hardest job first. I need time to wake up. My brain needs time to wake up. I cannot. You're not rubbish. Don't be silly. Because that works. When my brain is awake, I am ready to eat the frog first and get it done. But it takes me like an hour and a half to get there. So I know first thing in the morning, I'm not going to be working on my course. I will be doing kind of the mindless tasks that need to get done that don't require me to be creative or what have you. Ben, I'm going to let you jump in here.
And I can't sweep you off of your feet. Will you remember the taste of my love?
Are we being serenaded?
I still smile.
I'm a bit scared if it was going to come up that screen now. But
thanks.
That was really nice.
No, that was beautiful. But
yeah,
as we mentioned, we're very efficient people.
Yeah.
So get to the point. But it was very beautiful. It was nice.
No nonsense, no fluff in this group, Ben.
No fluff. No fluff with Kat and I.
But it's funny you should say that, Cara, because what I do is I'm laughing at you saying 43 face, sorry, I don't know your first name. You're saying you're still doing an email that you started at 8:30 this morning. So here's what I do. I write those emails like this evening. I will, because what time is it? It's now 7 o'clock here. So I will write a few emails that I know I need to go tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And I'll batter them out. And then tomorrow morning, what I do is I review and I hit send. So they're done. And then I can review to make sure that I haven't been a rant, I haven't ranted or said the wrong thing. And I can check myself, check my language.
You're a professional adult.
Yeah, sometimes I forget that. So that burnout check just allows me to get that email out of my inbox. But yeah, I mean, I'm the same. In the morning, I know that I can't function until I've had probably my second cup of tea. And then I'm ready to kind of eat the frog, so to speak. But until that point, I actually schedule some tasks that are just mind-numbing stuff that I don't actually need to engage with. A bit like watching rubbish telly.
Yep.
It's kind of that feeling for me.
I can't tell you how many times, like, my first thing in the morning is having 2 cups of coffee and watching an episode on Netflix of some series that I'm watching. An hour, right? I mean, An hour is a lot of time, but at the same time, it's not. When I give myself that time to just kind of just wake up, the whole rest of my day is so much more productive. It just is.
Yeah.
Versus
I'm just laughing.
Sit at my computer.
I'm just laughing what you're saying there. Yeah, it's that kind of, they were up at 1:30 in the morning. I've actually I'm just going to confess this. I've actually scheduled emails to do exactly that because of those people who wear like a badge of honor. I like that. Very good.
Kenneth, there's so many apps you can use to make your life so much easier, which is one of the awesome things about social media and productivity and all the tools we have available. There's so many things that you can do. Buffer I'm such a huge fan because not only does it let me schedule all my social media stuff, but I schedule it for my clients because I do social media for clients. So it lets me have everything all in one place, and I'm not trying to, that talk about a time suck. But there's so many Chrome apps and Gmail apps and whatever. And that kind of goes back to the beginning of our conversation today, where we talked about you just kind of have to find what method works for you, whether it's a written down to-do list or it's Google Keep is an app that I actually really, really like.
Yeah, actually.
And I like it because it lets you save pictures in your lists as well. So it's funny. So I'm married and my husband and I have been together for a long time. And it's really hard for me to send him to the grocery store because I know he's going to come back with something that's not right?
Not on the list.
Well, not just on the list. Like I'll send him for something very specific and he just, can't find whatever. I will take, and so on Google Keep, we actually share our grocery list and I will take pictures of what it is in the house and put it on the grocery list. So it's not just about social media, whatever, but it's about finding the tools that make your life easier. And that makes my life easier.
Okay, I'm laughing because tonight I sent a picture to my husband with the list because he's like, I'm still at work, and he said, I'll come home and I'll go to the shops on my way home. What do we need? And I thought, I'm not doing a big long text.
Yeah.
So I'd written a shopping list,
photograph,
and I thought, oh God, yeah, there's another similarity. Control freak.
Yeah.
What? Totally.
So,
but yeah, you can try any apps and whatever. You just need to find what works for you. Everybody's going to have their own perfect, and you'll see people's blogs about it. Here are the top 10 apps to use for blah 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 blah. Just pick what's right for you. Try them out. Try them out for a week. Try them out for a couple of weeks. And if they're not for you, ditch them. It's not like I don't know if anybody else does this, and I know this might upset some people, but, and again, this is me being controversial. I'm like,
do your thing.
Do you see if you get a book and you start to read that book and it's rotten? Would you push on through to the end or would you ditch it?
Oh, I would.
Because I did.
I don't have time for that.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So I've got friends who are like, oh no, you've committed to the story. And I'm like, no. Or read the back page, which freaks them out even more. They're just like, no, you can't skip to the end of the story. You can see their world.
You're going to open a time-space continuum and get sucked in. And, yeah.
And this is the point. It's just because somebody else is using an app or a system that suits them, it's not going to fit for you. Now, Buffer's perfect.
No.
Buffer, I know you.
Ever. I love reading about what works for other people because you never know what's going to resonate for you. Like I read a ton of entrepreneur books. I whatever. And there are ones that I've put down halfway through that I'm like, nah, this isn't whatever. There are ones that I read all the way through and I'm like, I got some good nuggets out of that. Like it wasn't really for me, but I got some good things. And then there are other ones where I was like, oh, that's me. That totally speaks to me, that whatever. So you really got to, I schedule in time actually to read business, productivity, entrepreneur, whether it's a book, articles, whatever, because I get so much out of exploring other ways to do things. And you never know what you're going to find that works for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I totally agree with that. It's back to what we're saying. It's like pull all the wee bits of information, but make your own blueprint. If it's a different combination of things, do what's right for you. Don't do the square peg in a round hole thing.
Right.
Try and get something actually that really works for me, and see if it's a pen and paper. Use a pen and paper. Don't feel the need to get all gadgety and apps. I personally love a gadget. There you go.
Something for me about the brain dump, writing it out, which is not the same for me as typing it out. There's just that neural pathway that, whatever. Now, after I get it all out of my head, then I'll start organizing it on my computer and how I want to do things and whatever. But spider diagrams, I know that that's what works for me, and I love it. And I've got pretty pens and pencils, and it makes me. It works for me. So
it builds the kind of left brain, right brain thing of I get to be creative, but then I know I can be structured at the same time, and it kind of fulfill that kind of aspect of it. I'm the exact same, Cara. And actually, I lied when I said I only have 2 lists. I actually have 3. So I have a to-do list. I have a procrastination list, and I have a to-done list.
Tell me about your to-done list.
So that's exactly what it is. It's I have to-done it. It's finished. It's complete.
Instead of just crossing it off the other list?
No, not to-done, because actually it kind of allows the brain to reflect on everything you've been through. So when you were saying, I can tell when I have a really productive day, but sometimes you can't. I've done this. My husband's come home and he said, what did you do? And I'm like, oh, it's been terrible. And he said, well, what have you done? And as I start to run through it, I think, actually,
not much.
I've got a lot done. Oh, yeah. I've got actually a lot done because it's on my to-done list. But I just haven't allowed myself to think about it. And it's a good way of reminding yourself, actually, this is why I keep doing this. Keep doing my business, because I'm getting through my stuff. Yeah, so it kind of fulfills a wee gratitude part in your brain as well, if that's how you want to look at it. But yeah, so I've got 3 lists. How do I ever get in?
Kenneth, yeah, I absolutely love, and I'm sorry, I'm going to have to go here pretty soon because I'm going to a networking luncheon. But Google Drive is awesome, and I actually use it with all my clients, because when you're talking about social media and content and calendars, you don't want that, version 2, final version, all of that going back and forth attachments. It's all updated in real time, and you control who has access. Google Drive's awesome. I love Google. They have my soul. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Yeah.
Kat, put your website in. I have just put mine in, and I'll actually also put in just straight to my blog, because my blog was kind of, even though we, got off track a little bit or whatever, my blog, my latest one, was the inspiration for this week's topic, which is the 5 reasons your social media strategy isn't working. And a lot of it is about productivity and scheduling and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So getting it done. Yeah. So we will be here same time next week. Thank you. I'm sorry, I forgot your name. I know you put it in here. Hold on, let me scroll up. Gibran? I don't know if you can tell me or not. Gibran. Yeah. Thank you for all your participation. That was awesome. Love talking to you. And we'll be here same time next week talking about social media and productivity. And I will probably be making a lot of faces.
As will I. And being crickets. Or suck a lot.
Perfect. Thank you, everybody, so much for being here. And both of us put up the blabs on our website as well. If you want to go back and look at all the amazingly interesting things we talked about for an hour and a half.
I know. It's like the Cara and Kat show. Cara, always a pleasure. Love to see you.
I'll talk to you very soon. Bye, everybody.